a buried Meghan secret, a desperate royal cash crisis, and now Sarah Ferguson may be preparing to detonate everything the Sussexes prayed would stay hidden forever. The palace corridors are shaking again because behind the polished smiles, behind the California branding, behind the carefully staged Instagram motherhood moments, another royal insider may be about to cash in on years of whispered conversations. And this time, the timing could not be worse for Meghan Markle and Prince Harry.
Meghan Markle's meticulously planned strategy to revive the long-forgotten magic of the Sussex brand has gone spectacularly wrong, and poor old hopeless Harry is getting the blame. As a result, behind the gilded gates of their Montecito mansion in the sun, storm clouds are gathering.
The shocking twist is not simply that Sarah Ferguson is considering a massive tell-all project worth millions. No, the real panic exploding behind royal walls is the claim that Meghan once trusted Fergie with deeply personal information during the earliest days of her romance with Harry, back when Meghan was still learning palace rules, still trying to navigate royal life, still building private friendships away from the institution's official machinery. And now, that confidential channel may have become a ticking financial weapon, because suddenly, Ferguson is no longer turning down offers. Suddenly, the woman who spent years avoiding explosive royal publishing deals is reportedly moving toward publication at the exact moment financial pressure is crushing the Andrew Ferguson household from every direction. That coincidence feels almost too perfect, too convenient, too dangerous.
Coming cash for trash trip to Australia, the shine has gone from a downwardly mobile couple who were once the epitome of regal glamour. The dazzling images that defined their magnificent Windsor wedding seem like ancient history, now that Harry and Meghan are reduced to hawking themselves around for money, charging fat fees for personal appearances at non-events that are frankly embarrassing.
The money problems are no longer whispers. Ferguson reportedly sold property at a loss. Prince Andrew has already lost security, allowances, status, and nearly every institutional privilege that once protected him. And now insiders claim Andrew himself is desperately trying to negotiate which Sarah can reveal, and more importantly, how much of the money he can get from it. Imagine the atmosphere inside those rooms. Two royals, both weakened, both cornered, both staring at a potential publishing jackpot built on family secrets and mutual exposure. And Meghan's name reportedly sits right in the middle of it, because according to these reports, Meghan and Ferguson developed a friendship outside official royal supervision during the engagement years. That detail matters a lot. It means conversations happened away from palace filters, away from advisors, away from institutional witnesses, quiet chats, emotional confessions, observations about Harry, fears, complaints, plans, expectations, maybe even regrets. Nobody publicly knows what the alleged secret actually is, and somehow that makes the entire situation even more explosive. The mystery itself has become the story.
During a speech about his late mother Diana at a Canadian real estate agents conference marked a humiliating low point, and Ms. Markle selling her soul as the main attraction at a tawdry $2,000 a head women-only weekend at a Sydney hotel smacks of desperation.
Now publishers are circling like sharks because they understand something terrifying for the Sussex household. Secrets become most valuable when the people involved are weakest. And right now, Harry and Meghan are bleeding commercial power from every direction. Netflix reportedly reduced the value of their relationship. Spotify collapsed after one season. Meghan's speaking fees reportedly plunged. Hollywood connections have weakened. Even the carefully crafted perfect California power couple image now feels unstable, overproduced, exhausted. That is why Ferguson's timing feels less accidental and more surgical. At the same moment Meghan is reportedly trying to reinvent herself as a motherhood lifestyle brand, another royal woman may be preparing to monetize private memories from Meghan's royal arrival era. And the symbolism is brutal. One woman trying to control the narrative, another woman potentially preparing to sell a different version of it.
With sky-high living costs to cover of more than $6 million a year, the struggling Sussexes are having to sing for their supper in ever more excruciating ways. A dire situation the difficult Duchess was determined to rectify. As such, she charged her hapless husband with mission impossible: to get them back into King Charles's good books and return them to the top of the royal tree.
And insiders say Ferguson possesses something publishers crave more than scandal itself: perspective from both sides of the royal divide. She lived inside the institution during her marriage. She survived outside it afterward. She observed Megxit unfold. She watched the fractures, the loyalties, the silent wars, the manipulations, the positioning. That kind of access is publishing gold, which is exactly why executives reportedly see this as one of the biggest potential royal releases since Diana's bombshell era. But here is where the story becomes darker, because while Ferguson's potential project gains momentum, the Sussex image machine appears to be cracking under pressure in real time. Meghan's Easter content featuring Archie and Lilibet was supposed to project warmth, innocence, luxury family bliss. Instead, critics pounced almost immediately, questioning why the children always appear partially hidden, why the scenes feel staged, why the atmosphere feels strangely isolated. Some commentators described the footage as lonely. Others accused Meghan of transforming motherhood into commercial strategy. And suddenly, the internet started asking uncomfortable questions. Do the children have normal friendships? Are these moments authentic? Or are they calibrated content drops designed for audience manipulation? Once those questions enter public conversation, they become impossible to fully erase, especially when favorability polls are collapsing at the same time. Then came the brutal numbers. An 82% poll suggesting British audiences are exhausted by what critics now call royals for hire. That figure hit palace watchers like a thunderclap because it transformed online frustration into measurable public consensus, not scattered criticism. Consensus. And once public patience disappears, every commercial move suddenly looks more desperate than strategic. Meanwhile, Harry appears trapped in a humiliating contradiction. The prince, who once carried enormous institutional weight, is now reportedly giving speeches at conferences where even ticket sales are struggling. His reflections about parenting and upgrading future generations triggered confusion, mockery, and accusations of Californian word salad. Critics say he no longer sounds like a royal figure at all. He sounds disconnected, floating between celebrity therapy culture and fading royal identity with no stable ground beneath him. The collapse of trust inside royal circles is exactly why Harry's latest Sandringham maneuver reportedly stunned palace insiders, because according to multiple reports, Harry allegedly signaled that if King Charles wants to see Archie and Lilibet after years of distance, then the Sussex family should receive a summer invitation to Sandringham, complete with full armed police protection. And instantly, critics exploded, not because grandchildren visiting their grandfather is shocking, but because of the leverage attached to it. The emotional pressure, the conditions, the implication that access to the children now exists alongside institutional demands. The palace response reportedly became ice cold, because for Charles, this is no longer simply a family disagreement. It is now a constitutional and reputational minefield. The monarchy allegedly fears that every private interaction with Harry and Meghan risks future commercialization, future leaks, future reinterpretations through interviews, documentaries, memoirs, or third-party projects. That fear did not appear from nowhere. Oprah happened, Netflix happened, Spare happened. Every deeply personal royal interaction eventually became content, and institutions remember patterns. That is why Camilla reportedly insisted on being physically present during Harry's previous meeting with Charles. Think about how extraordinary that really is. A father and son reunion monitored almost like a diplomatic negotiation instead of an emotional reconciliation. Witnesses in the room, controlled conditions, no unsupervised trust. It reveals how deeply damaged these relationships allegedly are beneath the public statements about healing and reconciliation. Meanwhile, Meghan's commercial reinvention campaign appears to be spinning faster and faster as opportunities narrow. The lifestyle projects, the social media relaunches, the luxury motherhood branding, the staged appearances. Critics say everything now feels less like empire building and more like survival mode, because every new venture arrives carrying the weight of previous disappointments. And once major Hollywood gatekeepers allegedly begin stepping back, agents, fashion elites, celebrity power circles, the collapse becomes visible to everyone watching. The Met Gala door reportedly closing, powerful industry figures disengaging, major pathways disappearing one by one. Those aren't isolated incidents anymore. Together, they form a pattern. And patterns are dangerous in Hollywood because perception becomes reality incredibly fast. Once people sense decline, they begin protecting themselves from proximity to it. Even Harry's speaking circuit now reportedly carries an atmosphere of quiet desperation. Confidence conferences, symposiums, corporate stages, smaller venues than anyone once imagined for the son of King Charles and Princess Diana. Commentators openly questioned why a prince once associated with global royal prestige is now speaking at events struggling to fill seats. That contrast alone has become symbolic of the Sussex downfall narrative now spreading through media commentary. And then came the Australia appearances, perhaps the clearest example yet of how critics believe the Sussexes are still trying to recreate royal tours without the institution behind them. Paid appearances, VIP packages, selfie access, luxury event circuits. But insiders claim some attendees reportedly demanded refunds afterward because expectations did not match reality. That detail matters because once consumers start questioning value, the commercial illusion weakens publicly. The glamour starts cracking. At the same time, royal commentators are now openly discussing something that once sounded unthinkable: the possibility of stripping titles entirely. And the terrifying part for Harry and Meghan is that this conversation is no longer confined to fringe critics. Mainstream royal analysts are now raising it publicly, especially after Prince Andrew established the precedent that royal status can indeed be reduced when institutional pressure reaches breaking point. But through all of this chaos, the shadow hanging over everything remains Sarah Ferguson's possible tell-all project. Because if Ferguson truly possesses private conversations from Meghan's vulnerable early royal years, publishers know exactly how explosive that material could become during a period of Sussex instability. And insiders reportedly believe the negotiations happening behind closed doors are already becoming deeply personal, emotional, and financially ruthless. Andrew allegedly worries about what may be exposed. Ferguson allegedly controls the manuscript leverage. Meghan allegedly cannot predict what eventually surfaces. Harry allegedly cannot stop the machinery once contracts are signed. And publishers? Publishers understand that scandal sells best when institutions are fractured, reputations are weakened, and audiences are emotionally exhausted from years of drama, yet still unable to look away. That is why this story feels less like ordinary celebrity gossip and more like a slow-motion royal collision unfolding in public view. Every failed reinvention, every rejected invitation, every collapsing deal, every awkward speech, every lonely Instagram frame, every leaked negotiation, every poll number, every silence from Buckingham Palace. They are all stacking together into one enormous pressure chamber around the Sussex household.